Notice that when creating new tasks, the date and created fields are blank. Let's configure some default values when the user creates a new task. Switch back to the project designer, right-click on the Business Rules node, and press New Business Rule. Let's create a business rule of type SQL. It will be triggered by the command name new, and it will run during the phase execute. This script will set the created field to the current date and time. Let's regenerate the app. Create a new task. Notice that the created field is set to the current date and time. We would also like to set up the date field to the next rounded half hour. Switch back to the application generator, and let's create another business rule. This business rule will be of type JavaScript. It will execute after the command new. This script will get the current date and time. If the current time is before the 30-minute mark, it will move it up to the next half hour. Otherwise, it will move it to the next hour. Finally, this value will be set to the date field. Let's regenerate the app. Notice that the date field has been set to the next half hour. We would also like to prevent the user from modifying the created field. In the project designer, expand the Create Form 1 view. Double-click on the created field. Mark this field as hidden. In the Edit Form 1 view, double-click on Created, and mark the field as static to prevent the user from making any changes to this field. Generate the application. Let's create a new task. Notice that the created field is not present in the create form. Let's reselect the task. Notice that the created field is no longer editable by the user. Let's add some optimizations to help the user mark and keep track of completed tasks. Switch back to the designer, and let's remove the completed data field from Create Form 1. Let's also mark the completed data field on the edit form as static. Let's add a custom action that will set the completed value for a task. Expand the Actions node, right-click on the form scope, and press New Action. This action will have command custom with command argument complete task. The header text will show complete. We would like to only show this action when the completed value is null. Finally, let's add an icon to this action. Let's also copy this action to the grid so that the user can complete tasks straight from the grid. Now that we've added an action, we will also need to add a rule that will handle this action. Right-click on the Business Rules node and press New Business Rule. Set the type to SQL. This business rule will be triggered by the command custom with argument complete task. It will run during the phase execute. This script will set the completed column to the current date and time based on the selected row. Let's regenerate the app. Press the three-dot menu next to any row. The complete action will be visible under this menu. Pressing this action will update the completed value. The action is also available in the form scope. We would like to filter the primary view to tasks that have not yet been completed. We will also add an additional view that will show all tasks. Switch back to the designer and expand the Views node. Let's double-click on Grid 1. Change the label to Active Tasks. Let's filter this view to only show records where completed is null. Let's create a copy of Grid 1. Let's change the ID of this grid to Grid All Tasks. Change the label of this grid to All Tasks. Let's clear the filter expression and sort this grid by the completed value. Let's see our changes in action. Notice that the default view now only shows tasks where completed is null. If we were to mark a particular task as completed, it will disappear from this view. We can use the view selector to switch to a list of all tasks. Let's go ahead and add a few more tasks.